Guia de estilo e instruções para a síntese de fala. Início das instruções. Você é um narrador, palestrante com voz potente, forte e autoritária. O tom deve ser firme e inabalável. Este é o início da mensagem. Comece com energia total e um tom de comando, capturando a atenção imediatamente. Este é o início da mensagem. Comece com energia total e um tom de comando, capturando a atenção imediatamente. You walk into the kitchen, open the cupboard and stand there for a moment because the reason you came in has slipped from your mind. It is a small, ordinary misfire, but it wakes an old worry. Is this normal or the first whisper of something worse? I'm Dr. Morales, a clinician who has spent decades seeing patients worried about memory, balance, and those creeping lapses that make everyday life feel uncertain. Today, I want to show you one common, reversible cause to consider: vitamin B12 deficiency, and 5 daily habits you can adopt now that support brain function, help protect nerves, and give you clear steps to take with your clinician. If this sounds useful, stick with me until the end. I'll explain what tests to ask for, what to bring to your appointments, and a practical morning smoothie you can make in 5 minutes. If you find this helpful, consider subscribing and giving the video a like so we can keep sharing clear, evidence-informed guidance for people over 60. Let's begin with a simple image. Think of your nervous system as a house full of electrical wires. Nerve fibers are the copper inside. Myelin is the insulation that keeps the signal moving cleanly and quickly. Vitamin B12 is not the wire itself, but one of the key ingredients your body needs to maintain that insulation. When B12 is low, insulation starts to thin. Signals slow, become misdirected, or get lost. That's why a deficiency can cause fatigue, memory slips, slowed thinking, numbness or tingling, and changes in balance or gait. It is also why restoring B12 can, in many cases, help the system recover, like repairing insulation on a frayed wire, although nerves that have been unprotected for a long time may take months to heal and may not return completely to what they once were. What causes B12 to be low? Age is a factor. As people get older, stomach acid production often falls, and that acid helps release B12 from food. Certain medications can lower absorption. Long-term use of acid-suppressing medicines and metformin are two common examples. Operations on the stomach or small intestine, chronic gut inflammation like atrophic gastritis or celiac disease, and infections that alter gut flora can interfere too. Strict vegetarian or vegan diets without fortified foods or supplements are a clear dietary risk. Heavy, chronic alcohol use and some rare autoimmune conditions like pernicious anemia, where antibodies attack intrinsic factor, are other causes. In clinical practice, I also watch for combinations. An older adult on metformin who has decreased appetite and eats little meat is a typical profile where several factors converge. I'll share 2 short, anonymized stories because real cases illustrate how subtle this can be. Mr. A retired electrician in his late 60s, came because his wife noticed he had begun to miss turns on a familiar drive, and twice left the stove on. He did not feel profoundly forgetful, mostly small lapses and some fatigue. Instruções de estilo e instruções para a síntese de fala. Início das instruções. Você é um narrador, palestrante com voz potente, forte e autoritária. O tom deve ser firme e inabalável. Contexto de continuidade. A frase anterior era forgetful, mostly small lapses and some fatigue. Você está no meio de uma frase, pensamento. Mantenha o ritmo e a força vocal sem quebrar a conexão. Haja como se estivesse transmitindo uma verdade fundamental. Tratamento de escolhas. Oral, alta dose de B12 e intramusculares são também usadas, e a escolha depende da causa e gravidade. Se a absorção pelo gasto é o problema, por exemplo, após certas cirurgias ou com anticorpos contra intrínseco, injeções podem ser preferidas inicialmente para repor reservas. Para a deficiência dietética, sem problemas de absorção, alta dose oral de tratamento ou suplementos diários confiáveis, mais fontes fortificadas podem funcionar bem. A decisão sobre rota e horário é clínica. Discuta com seu clínico antes de seguir um padrão que leu por aí. Importantemente, não prescreva ou self-prescreva doses baseadas somente em um vídeo. Dosagens e monitoramento mansam ser individualizadas. O que about timelines? Quando a deficiência de B12 causou anemia, blood counts often begin to improve within a few weeks. Neurological e cognitive symptoms can take longer. Some patients notice clearer thinking in weeks, for others, improvements unfold over months. Nerve recovery is a slow process because remyelination and neural repair take time. The earlier the intervention after symptoms begin, the better the chances of meaningful improvement. If someone has had symptoms for years, the response may be partial. That's why timely recognition matters. Now, the practical core of this conversation: 5 daily habits that support brain power in people over 60. These are habits I recommend to patients alongside clinical evaluation and treatment when indicated. They are not magical fixes, but they are evidence-aligned strategies that improve resilience, support nerve health, and make your life safer and clearer. First habit: prioritize nutrient-rich meals that include B12 sources or fortified alternatives. Imagine o garden of your brain, soil that you tend each day. Foods rich in B12 include fish, shellfish, meat, poultry, eggs, and dairy. If you follow a vegetarian or vegan pattern, choose B12 fortified cereals, plant milks, nutritional yeast with B12, or a daily supplement that your clinician recommends. A simple morning routine I suggest to many patients is a 5-minute fortified smoothie. 1 cup fortified plant milk or dairy milk, a half cup frozen berries, a tablespoon of plain yogurt or a dairy-free probiotic yogurt if preferred, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed, a small handful of spinach, and a serving of a neutral-tasting protein powder if desired. If you need B12 fortified options, choose a plant milk or cereal is specifically labeled as fortified. Blend, sip, and you have a fiber and micronutrient-rich start to the day. Taste the fruit, feel the cool thickness, and know you've made a practical choice to feed your nervous system. Second habit: keep a short daily symptom or medication log. Memory slips are easier to address when you can show patterns rather than rely on isolated worry. Each evening, write 3 lines. What you noticed, for example, forgot why I walked into the living room at 4:10, how long it lasted, and any no medications or changes in diet. Also, keep a current medication list. Many drugs can affect B12 absorption or cognition indirectly. Bring this to your clinician. This habit gives both you and your clinician data, reduces anxiety, and helps prioritize whether testing is needed. Third habit: protect sleep and manage hydration. Sleep is the nightly repair shop for the brain. Poor or insufficient sleep compounds cognitive slowing and memory issues. Aim for consistent sleep timing and 7 to 9 hours if possible. Avoid heavy meals and alcohol close to bedtime. Reduce screen exposure in the hour before sleep. Hydration matters because even mild dehydration can exaggerate fatigue and concentration problems. A simple cue: keep a filled water bottle on the bedside table and another by your favorite chair. When you notice yourself reaching for caffeine after 2 p.m., check whether a glass of water and a short walk would serve better. Fourth habit: move in ways that support balance, circulation, and cognition. Walking, tai chi, gentle strength work, or gardening all help. Movement stimulates blood flow, supports hippocampal health, and reduces fall risk. Small, frequent bursts of activity through the day beat a single sedentary block. Practice a simple balance exercise once or twice a day. Stand near a counter, lift one foot slightly and hold for 10-20 seconds, then switch. These micro practices build the kind of stability that prevents larger problems. The tactile feeling of your feet on the floor, the rhythm of your breath, the sun on your arm during a short walk. These sensations anchor you and strengthen circuits that underlie memory and attention. Fifth habit, nurture your mind through social and cognitive engagement. Reading aloud, learning a new recipe, playing a musical piece, joining a group walk, or simply calling a friend to discuss shared memories stimulates networks that help preserve function. The brain is a garden. Keep planting. Social contact reduces isolation and stress hormones that harm cognition. Short, daily cognitive tasks, crosswords, a new word, learning a step in a dance, done consistently matter more than occasional intense efforts. Along with these habits, attend to nutrient partners that often travel with B12. Adequate vitamin D, folate, omega-3 fatty acids, and zinc support brain health. If you take supplements, coordinate with your clinician because some interactions matter. For example, folate corrects blood counts but won't fix neurologic damage caused by B12. Correcting one deficiency without recognizing the other can mask problems. Again, testing and a clinician's guidance are essential. Red flags deserve a clear, calm statement. Seek urgent clinical review if you experience rapid worsening of thinking, sudden confusion, new or rapidly progressive balance problems, pronounced numbness leading to weakness, bladder or bowel dysfunction, or marked mood or behavior changes. These signs need prompt evaluation and often urgent imaging or specialist input. If you feel safety is at risk for yourself or others, don't wait. What to bring to your appointment? A brief symptom log as above, a current medication and supplement list, your typical diet description for the last few months, and any prior lab results you can access. Useful questions to ask your clinician include, should we measure MMA or homocysteine in addition to serum B12? Do you recommend holotranscobalamin testing here? Is intrinsic factor antibody testing here? Given my symptoms and test results, would injections be better than oral? What timeline should I expect for improvements, and when will we repeat testing? How might my current medications be contributing? These focused questions create a productive, collaborative visit. Monitoring and follow-up. If treatment is started, typical practice is to repeat labs in a matter of weeks to months. Commonly, a blood count and serum B12 in 6 to 12 weeks, sometimes with MMA or homocysteine to confirm metabolic response. Clinical reassessment of symptoms is equally important. Set a plan with your clinician about who will follow the labs and how to adjust therapy if needed. Let me return to the clinic for a moment. I once sat with a woman who could no longer play cards with the friends she had met for decades because she missed the order of her hand, a change that had isolated her from what she loved. We worked together. Dietary changes, fortified foods, a supervised plan for supplementation while we ran the right tests, and a schedule of short daily cognitive and physical activities. Over months, she rebuilt confidence and returned to her card table laughing at the small mistakes that still happened but no longer defining her. That recovery was not overnight, and it was not total at every moment, but it was meaningful. These are the kinds of practical, human outcomes that guided the 5 habits I've described. A few practical safety notes. Don't stop or change prescription medicines without discussing with the clinician who prescribed them. Don't interpret this content as a replacement for assessment. This is guidance to prompt good conversations with your healthcare provider. If complex medical issues exist, coordinate care. A geriatrician, neurologist, hematologist, or nutritionist may be appropriate depending on the case. Finally, a short checklist you can use mentally after this video. Have you noticed persistent memory changes or new neurologic symptoms? Do you have dietary patterns that could put you at risk for B12 shortfall? Have you started a simple symptom and medication log? Do you have an appointment scheduled to discuss testing if you're concerned? These small actions put you back in the driver's seat. I'll leave you with a hopeful, realistic note. B12 is not a miracle cure for all memory problems, nor will it reverse every form of cognitive decline, but it is an accessible, often treatable contributor to cognitive and neurologic symptoms, especially in people over 60. Timely recognition, appropriate testing, and coordinated treatment can restore function that directly affects safety, independence, and quality of life. If this information helped you, please subscribe and like. It helps this channel keep producing practical, clinician-led guidance. Share this with a loved one who has been worried about small lapses. Sometimes a gentle nudge to see a clinician makes all the difference. Guia de estilo e instruções para síntese de fala. Você é um narrador, palestrante com voz potente, forte e autoritária. O tom deve ser firme e inabalável. Contexto de continuidade. A frase anterior era: "That to see a clinician makes all the difference." Você está no meio de uma frase, pensamento. Mantenha o ritmo e a força vocal sem quebrar a conexão. Haja como se estivesse transmitindo uma verdade fundamental. If you plan to talk with your doctor, bring your symptom log, your medication list, and the questions I suggested. If you're unsure what to do next and need help prioritizing, ask your clinician about basic screening tests and about whether a referral to a specialist might be useful. Thank you for trusting me with this small piece of your health. Take one manageable step today. Make the morning smoothie, fill out your first symptom log entry, or call to schedule a routine check. Small, consistent habits add up, like tending a garden day by day, and they preserve the clarity that lets you keep doing what matters. A few final practical steps to close the loop. First, make a simple plan for the coming weeks. Put a reminder in your calendar for the lab follow-up you and your clinician agree on, whether that's 6, 8, or 12 weeks. Track one concrete symptom each day, for example, word finding, balance when turning, or numbness in toes, and rate it on a scale of 0 to 5. That single number trend will speak clearly to both you and your clinician when you review progress. If you start supplementation, note any side effects, how you took the dose, and whether you missed doses. Adherence matters. Second, involve a trusted person. Cognitive and sensory changes are easier to notice from the outside. Ask a family member or close friend to observe and to join at least one clinic visit, or to keep a short diary for a week. They can help with medication reconciliation and with ensuring tests are completed. Third, be aware of red flags that require more urgent care. Sudden new weakness or numbness on one side of the body, slurred speech, vision loss, severe unsteadiness that increases your fall risk, or abrupt worsening of confusion. Those symptoms warrant immediate evaluation. Fourth, remember common contributors to low B12. Long-standing vegetarian or vegan diets without appropriate fortification or supplementation, chronic atrophic gastritis, removal of stomach or intestinal segments, prolonged use of certain medications, notably metformin or acid-suppressing drugs, and autoimmune pernicious anemia. If any of these apply to you, mention them explicitly at your visit. They change testing and treatment choices. Fifth, be patient and hopeful about recovery. Neurological improvements may lag behind biochemical correction. Blood levels can normalize faster than symptoms. Celebrate small gains, sustained attention for longer stretches, fewer dropped items, more confidence leaving the house. Those small wins are meaningful. Resources and tools. Check the video description for a printable symptom and medication log, a short list of suggested questions to bring to your clinician, and references to accessible patient information about B12 testing and interpretation. If you prefer, ask your clinician about a referral to a geriatrician, neurologist, or hematologist when symptoms are complex or when the cause of deficiency is unclear.